To be honest, the two radios we're going to look at today are kind of cheap looking. To be honest, don't you love that expression? Whenever I hear someone say that, I think, yeah, be honest for a change. To be honest sounds like an admission that everything else that person ever says is a lie. We used to say honestly, as in honestly, I think these radios look kind of cheap. But what do I mean by cheap? Well, not this. This is a different kind of cheap. This is cheaping out on design. With these, they didn't even try to make an attractive product. This is the kind of cheap that disrespects the buyer by giving little thought or care to what the product looks like. It obviously doesn't matter to them, the maker, what the product looks like, so they figure, why should it matter to you, the buyer? I could go so far as to say I find this insulting. Do companies think insulting us is how to get our money? So no, these radios are definitely not cheap in design or styling. They do not insult. What I mean here by cheap is breaks easily. And indeed, if you find one of these radios, you are likely to find it broken in some way. The first thing to go is the little cabinet. Expect cracks and or missing pieces from the thin and brittle plastic cabinet. The top-notch and master-branded radios we're looking at today are good lookers for sure. I was lucky to find these radios still in their original boxes and very little used. The top-notch came with a leather case and earphone, a leather earphone case, and it looks like there was a battery supplied in here originally, too. And the owner's manual comes tucked in under the lid, held in place with a ribbon. Well, now, isn't this a nice little package? The owner's manual, or instruction folder, has a round cutout on the front, what's called a die cut. That's a deluxe touch. They didn't have to do that. Changing the battery is discussed, and it is noted that on this radio there is a battery door so that the entire back of the radio need not and should not be removed. So, keep out. And we get the circuit diagram, even though we have just been told that we have no business in there where the parts are. The case is top-grain cowhide, the real deal, as opposed to the vinyl or cardboard case you might get with one of these radios, if you got a case at all. And here's the top-notch looking straight at you. What a beauty! I think that of all the underpainted colors, white is unsurpassed. There's a beautiful, pearly look to it, clean and crisp. It's a squarish radio, or rectangularish, I should say. No real shape to it other than that of a little box. And on the back is the battery compartment door. The term top-notch is an idiom in English, the origins of which are said to be with sailors, describing the highest point on a ship's mast. Alternate origin stories involve carpenters marking the quality of their tools with a notch on the handle. The higher up on the handle, the better the tool. While historians can't agree on the true origin, or much of anything else, it is agreed by all that top-notch indicates something good, or superior, or best. And here on a radio, top-notch is, of course, just a brand name. A pretty good brand name, I should say. Better than really good or swell. Maybe Swell Tone. I like that name. It's a good thing I wasn't old enough in those days to be naming these things, or we might have had the Receptomatic, the Station Getter, or how about Sound Spewer? And speaking of crummy names for transistor radios, here's the Master. It's in the sort of box we usually see with Marvel radios from Yokohama Electric, but it was Orion who made this one. Here it is as an Orion with the same model number and with a claim that it has an ABS cabinet, plastic alloy, the most tough and beautiful. Well, maybe that's true for the Orion version of this radio, but I doubt it is for this Master-branded version. Like the top notch, it is so delicately made, shall we say, that it is damaged even though obviously barely used. It has several cracks and is missing a badge from the speaker grill. Such a badge would have just fallen off as the glue that held it dried out. But oh, what a cutie! And I'm very glad to have it in my collection in any condition. This one has mirror finish underpainting, something you don't see much on a radio. On the back of the cabinet, molded into the plastic, it says 6 Transistor Japan. And there's this crude black 7 stamped over the 6, indicating, no, actually, it's a 7 transistor. Oh, that's a treat. I like that kind of thing. And inside of it, we find it employs the typical 9-volt battery and uses Mitsubishi transistors. To be honest, I like these cheap radios very much. In my early days of collecting these radios, before eBay, the collectors, the few of us who knew of each other, would trade radios to build our collections. We'd trade our duplicates off for other people's duplicates of models we didn't yet have. In those trades, the going rate for radios considered cheap, like this, was about 4-to-1. You could get 4 radios like this for one of these, an early American-made transistor radio. I was lucky and found these American radios relatively easily, so I'd trade 1 for 4 as often as I could. What made these trades work for both parties was that they were trading off 4 pieces of cheap junk for 1 good radio, while I was trading off 1 good radio for 4 beautiful little gems of product design.